Musician Anya Tyrrell has made a home with her 3 kids out of this tour bus and caravan on private land.
So this is my 2 girls' room. My daughter actually built this as a school project.
But after the severe storms that hit the Northern Rivers 2 weeks ago, the presence of mud, sewage and mould has forced them to leave.
What's the smell like in here?
Yes, pretty, pretty strong, pretty unhealthy. But the flood was, a tipping point to being a livable situation anymore.
It's not just her home that's gone. Floodwater entered Anya's storage shed, destroying many of her family's possessions and the records she sells at gigs.
Saving what we can.
Woohoo! Oh, look at that. Better than a new one.
So we've lost our home. It's not a house, but it's the way a lot of people have to live up here.
The northern New South Wales community of Mullumbimby has had its share of natural disasters, but the devastation caused by these floods is being described as unprecedented.
I've worked through multiple emergencies, bushfires, other floods. I've never seen anything like what's happened. Major bridges taken out, huge landslips, just the road network, particularly up in the hinterlands, making it so that people have absolutely no way of getting in or out.
Some believe it's also exposed an inadequate emergency response by authorities during the height of the disaster, when it was hard to communicate with little phone and internet coverage.
I would say if it wasn't for spontaneous volunteers, many would have died, many would have been left unaddressed, many would be very sick.
Ella Ganinen and a group of volunteers banded together to provide an emergency response of their own. One key element was rescues, which included organising private helicopters to evacuate people from the nearby hinterland where there was flash flooding. Authorities believe a 70-year-old woman died at Upper Wilsons Creek after a landslide engulfed her house.
We had to do that because the emergency services were not able to and did not have the capacity to respond quick enough.
Army reservists in this helicopter were able to rescue and evacuate 2 people after a landslide in Upper Main Arm. As water from the Brunswick River began rising in his street, Justin Ickstroms and his wife decided they had to take their 2 kids to an evacuation centre.
It was pretty much up to me and my wife's above our waists, and we grabbed a surfboard that the kids and us waded out on, and made it about 500 metres up the road.
Justin and his family were amongst more than 300 people who packed into the ex-services club, where there was little official presence for the first 24 hours.
Well, I just came down to check if they were open and ended up, doing whatever I could, constantly kind of expecting other people to arrive to help, and no one did. People weren't able to make SES calls or calls to the police. We were calling out addresses that we'd heard from other people across the road to volunteers and the SES for them to go and get them off their roofs.
When Justin returned to his rental property, the damage was overwhelming.
We lost basically everything on the ground: beds, all furniture, 2 cars.
As the clean-up continues in Mullumbimby, the support from government agencies is now highly visible. The massive community effort is also ongoing.
So they're sending teams from here to help clean people's houses, help bring supplies. It's absolutely phenomenal.
So we had teams of volunteer workers come through to help us clean and take out the plaster and take the carpet out. We've listed them all. This isn't all of them.
While the local volunteers with the State Emergency Service worked tirelessly during the emergency, Sarah Njai believes the SES didn't have enough people and resources.
It's very hard when the lead agency, the SES, are a volunteer organisation and they have so few volunteers in this area. We had two working on the ground, and I guess for me in a flood event my view's quite myopic. It was kind of this street, but we only had two people working to try and evacuate the hundreds of people that needed to be evacuated. They did an incredible job and they worked for 7 days straight, some of them. But having a volunteer organisation as the lead organisation that isn't properly resourced to do the job is problematic.
In a statement, the New South Wales State Emergency Service said it had received almost 400 requests for assistance in the Mullumbimby area and that they did conduct flood rescues, but that it was unsafe at times to conduct them. The New South Wales Minister for Emergency Services said a review into the flood emergency would be carried out as soon as possible.
Hello again.
Anya Tyrrell has emergency housing until the end of the month, but she doesn't know where her family will live after that. She hopes a joint state and federal housing package offering motorhomes and campgrounds will help. However, like many here, she couldn't afford housing before the flood and is worried the situation will be far worse.
Thank you. You know, we have accommodation incredibly till the end of this month. How are we going to solve this for all these families and all these people who have been displaced in that time? It seems like a massive job.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.